Let's talk about MSF. Let's talk about all of us. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things Scopely does. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Like and subscribe.
What's going on, everybody? It is time for another edition of Let's Talk About It with our featured guest this week, none other than the incomparable, the effervescent, the amazing, the fabulous. There's so many amazing adjectives to describe this absolutely wonderful human being. Vynora, welcome.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm so excited to have you here. I'm so excited to have you here. We've had, you've been on Happy Hour a few times, and we've had a few discussions here and there. But I love these opportunities to sort of dive into sort of what makes streamers who they are and what got them here. And I think you're just an amazing human. And so I'm super excited, super stoked that you're here. Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah. For you, Taco.
I appreciate that. So just want to dive right into it. So how long you been playing Marvel Strike Force?
So I've been playing Marvel Strike Force. So I've played every single day since I started. So I had Google do the math for me, but I started playing April 2nd of 2018.
Okay.
So I'm coming up on my 5-year anniversary.
That's crazy. That's crazy. And when did you start streaming?
I started streaming, oh my gosh. I think it was I have it written down somewhere, but June 10th of, I almost want to say 2020. It's only been 3 years, almost 3 years that I've been streaming.
Okay. And what made you decide to get into streaming in general?
So my friend, Dolphin, he comes into my streams every once in a while. He messaged me one day and he was like, "Hey, Vin, you should start streaming." And I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Just do it." He's like, "I was thinking about it. I think you'd be a really great streamer. You should just start streaming." And I was like, no, I don't want to. And he's like, "Vin, I'm just going to keep badgering you. Just try it once. If you don't like it, then I'll stop bothering you." So I was like, "Fine, I'll try it." And I just continued since then. So my friend badgered me into doing
it. So that's wonderful. I feel like the majority of people that stream, basically somebody gave them extreme pressure to do it. So obviously, it's been successful for you in various ways. You've got a wonderful streaming atmosphere in your channel. I always think it's so funny because I don't know that I've ever seen, especially with Marvel Strike Force, and I try to keep it pretty happy-go-lucky. But I've had a few rage moments here and there. I've never seen you unhappy when you stream. I've never seen the chat unhappy when you stream. It's such a positive atmosphere there.
Yeah.
Is that the goal? Is it just about having a good time and blocking out all the shenanigans?
Yeah, I mean, I really do like to try to be positive. I understand too, and I even express my frustrations with some parts of the game and everything, but I just try to keep just kind of the negative energy. I don't want to bring down the atmosphere or anything because of a lot of negative energy. So it's I'm willing to talk about what's frustrating, but then add positive stuff in there because I just don't want it to be oh great, bummer type atmosphere. Just kind of keep it light, and you can vent to me, but also let's look at the positive stuff. So balance it out a little bit at least. And I do rage on stream, but is when I'm playing other games like Fall Guys or something, I get
upset. So let's talk about that a little bit. So you are very much a gamer. You love to play video games, and most of them you play on stream. Are there any games that you love to play that you don't stream?
Yes. So lately I've really been into like League of Legends.
Okay.
I don't stream that one because I get very, very upset in League of Legends. Like sometimes I don't even know why I play that game. And like Fortnite, I used to stream Fortnite, but I haven't for like the longest time. But pretty much right now it's Fortnite and League of Legends I play off stream.
Nice. And the how much time do you think goes into gaming in general? Like, do you, because we talked a little bit about sort of the family life before we started this show, and twins. My God, the on one hand, twins is such an amazing blessing because you get it's sort of a twofer. You get two out at once, and then at some point you get two that leave at once. And but the whole up until that point, it can be a challenge, and especially in as infants and toddlers. How do you find time to game, or do you just grab every spare moment?
Pretty much like I'm not on my computer when the twins are awake.
Yeah.
So when they're down for their nap, if I'm not napping, then I can go on my computer, and sometimes I'll game there, but it depends on if I'm doing like other stuff. But pretty much it's when they're napping and after they go to bed. And I usually like they go to bed at 8, I go to bed at 10. So I have 2 hours there to do whatever I want. So it's like between their 2 to 3 hour nap and the 2 hours after they go to bed.
Yeah.
That's the time like I can game if I want.
Absolutely. And how old are the babies now? Because they've sort of grown up on Twitch, which is sort of awesome.
Yeah. And it's my Twitch family went through the pregnancy with me, and now they're growing up as twins. They're 1. They will be turning 2 in May. Like they're close to being 2, and it's crazy.
Oh my God, that's so terrifying. I mean, terrible twos is it's called that for a reason, and to have 2 of them, God bless you. God bless you.
I need to start stocking up on wine for that time.
Just remember to keep on smiling, and remember that they are awesome and amazing, and it won't last forever.
Yeah, and then I think one thing nice with like the twins is like I only have to go through terrible twos once. Not terrible twos one time, and then when the younger kid goes through it, I have to do it again. I was like, just get through it one time and it's one and done.
Well, yeah, until adolescence, and then you get to go through that at twice the pain. But there's a nice gap. There's a nice recovery gap in there.
Yeah, that's why I'm gonna be like, hey, you want to go like spend some time at your grandparents for a while? I'm joking. I won't do that, but
why? That's what grandparents are for. Like, and being a grandparent is sort of the greatest gig ever because you get to have all of the fun, and then as soon as you're tired of it, you can be like, all right, come get them. They're not mine. So you get you get a little break, and granted, you typically inherit either sugared up or raging kids in return, but you at least get that break to ready yourself.
Yeah, to prepare myself.
All right, and then as far as also you are a cat mom, all right?
Yes.
And so cats can be pretty demanding because essentially cats own their human, not the other way around. A person is more of a pet to a cat than a cat is to a person. How has the cat taken to the babies? Has she tried to smother them in their sleep?
Luna, everyone knows like Luna can be a jerk, but Luna honestly like wants nothing to do with the twins. She just kind of like they leave her alone, she leaves them alone. Stephanie is walking now and Gwen is crawling. So sometimes, like the other day, Stephanie was chasing Luna with holding a drumstick. But Luna was more just like stay away from me. If they do get too close to her and like kind of corner her, she will kind of like smack them, but not with her claws out. More of like a warning, like little slap. But the twins pretty much know, like, just leave her alone. She'll leave you alone. But every once in a while, you have a baby chasing her, and it's like, you know what's going to happen if you get too close. But we'll see.
Not for nothing, but that would be an amazing channel redemption, just to see Luna smack one of them real quick.
I really watch her because, like, I clip her nails because I do not want her to claw my kids.
Yeah,
and then she keeps her nails in, so it's more like a warning smack. But yeah, Stephanie was like holding a drumstick, walking just towards her. It's like, okay, well, we're gonna see how this plays out before I can.
But that's what true parenting is. It's, watching kids get right up to the edge of whatever this cliff is, not an actual cliff, but getting right up to the edge of what's about to happen and just being prepared to snag them for when it goes very wrong. But you want to give them that chance. They got to learn.
Yeah, I mean, it's a learning experience, and I'm making sure they're not like in danger or going to get hurt.
Yes, exactly.
It's like they need to learn to leave Luna alone.
All right, and then before we move on to the panel discussion, hot topic, big burning question. You've got another channel redemption on your show that everyone is very well aware of, that you used to participate in heavily. Push-up channel redemption. You were the push-up queen of MSF for many, many moons. And there has been some talk that maybe those push-ups aren't live anymore. And I want to give you the opportunity to address this. It's you have a right to answer for yourself, but at the same time, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't bring it up.
So I feel like whatever my answer is, no one is going to believe me.
No. This is let's talk about it. Everyone's going to believe you, except the people that don't.
Which is going to be like everyone. But no, they are not pre-recorded. They are live push-ups. I do have a little joke of a little button on my push-up screen just to kind of go with the people that think they are pre-recorded. But no, they are actually live push-ups.
Okay.
Because, with twins, I need to stay in shape.
Yeah.
And also, I hope one day, if I ever do meet Value Flyin in person, I would like to challenge him to a push-up competition. So I need to actually do them live to work up my muscles for that. So no, they are not pre-recorded. They are live push-ups of me attempting to do one actual real one, but little half-ups right now, but they're getting there.
Well, so I think that opportunity is probably coming this year. It sounds like everybody is on board with TwitchCon Vegas. I know the majority. Granted, it seemed like everybody was on board last year, and then it turned out to just be me, Sin, and Lex. And granted, Sage did come down for a quick visit, but he just stopped streaming Marvel Strike Force at that point. But yeah, so I've heard that Valley wants the Valley is planning on going. I feel like if Boomer doesn't go, we're all just going to show up at his house, so he's going to have to make an appearance in one way or another, because I doubt he wants any of us at his house, especially Rich. But yeah, so anyway, so thank you so much for coming on. I've really appreciated the conversation. Again, I love you so much, and not for nothing, but you look amazing. You got rid of the baby weight so fast, and quite frankly, like, you never really looked pregnant from a streaming standpoint, because it's sort of like shoulders up. So you took care of yourself, and bravo, because I think a lot of people get pregnant And when I say a lot of people get pregnant, I'm talking about the guys too. It's like everybody just lets themselves go at some point.
Yeah, but with like my situation, because like the girls were 3 months premature, so I didn't really have a time to get big. It was to the point where my stomach was just getting big enough to where I started to transition to maternity clothes.
Oh, wow.
So it's like I didn't really get big because of the prematurity. So kind of like, I guess that's like the only good thing that came out of it was I didn't go through that stage. So.
Oh, that's terrifying. I knew they were premature. I didn't realize it was 3 months though.
Yeah, they were like exactly 3 months premature.
So twins often do come premature because obviously your body's has difficult time, having 2 full-size babies in it, but 3 months. So I definitely want to get on to the panel, but I got to ask, like, what was that like going through that? Like, did the earliness sort of make you avoid the postpartum that can happen just because you're so afraid during that time?
No, I went through a postpartum depression and everything. It was honestly like it was traumatizing. Like I do not plan on having any more kids after that, but like it was like on Wednesday or Thursday. It was like Thursday or Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
I went to my specialist appointment because with multiples you have to go to a specialist appointment every 2 weeks to monitor.
Yeah.
And he came in and he's like, "Hey," he's like, "You're gonna hate me." And I was like, "Why?" He's like, "I'm hospitalized."
Oh.
And I was like, "Okay, how long am I going to be in the hospital for?" He's like, "Until you have the babies." So I was like, I called my mom and I'm like, "Holy crap, I'm on my way to the hospital." And I was even like, "Who's going to take care of Luna?" Like, she's going to be all alone. So my mom's like, "I'll go out." She's like, because I'm going to be in the hospital for at least 3 months, until if I went full term. But yeah, I was hospitalized and bedridden that Wednesday or Thursday. And then that Sunday, and I was hooked up to machines, like monitoring their heart rates and everything.
Mm-hmm.
That Sunday, they scheduled me for the emergency C-section.
Oh.
So it was like that fast. And then the whole NICU experience, because they're in the hospital for 4 months, but the whole NICU experience of them being on oxygen, like it was just scary. Like there was a lot of scary moments because like with premature babies, they're still in their mind, they're still dependent on the mom for their breathing, that they forget they're supposed to breathe on their own. So like every once in a while, like they would just kind of like start turning blue because they just kind of forget that they're supposed to breathe on their own. So like the nurses have to like rub their backs for them to be like, "Oh yeah, I'm supposed to do this by myself." And then they start breathing again. So it's like I've watched like so much stuff happen and like heart rates dropping and all this stuff during that NICU experience. It was scary. Like I was like the stress of the NICU experience along with like the postpartum and everything. Like it was bad. Like it was very, very difficult, but I learned a lot. Learned a lot about like child development and all this stuff. And modern medicine is freaking amazing right now. And yeah, it was very, very scary. So,
well, thank you so much for sharing that. That's an amazing story, and and one day you get to share with them the heartache that they cause just by being here.
Yeah, it's like, you know what? You think you're difficult now. Your first 4 months here was horrible.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We're going to go over to this super amazing transition into our roundtable discussion. Stick around. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsor. I don't have a sponsor. Please sponsor me, somebody. Anybody? Please.
Are we doing like a commercial break for you?
No.
Oh, I can like start making one up or something if you wanted to.
Welcome back, everybody. It is time for our roundtable discussion. Joining us this week are none other than, of course, our esteemed guest this afternoon, Miss Vynora. Thank you again so much for being here. Also, RichOnShips, not to be confused with RichOnShips. Actually, two different people. One was a troll account and not Rich, even though everybody thought it was Rich. This is actually Rich. To my on my right side over here, directly above, is brother from another mother, Mr. Visara. Welcome, sir. And then joining us for the first time on Let's Talk About It, up in the top right screen or top left screen, I don't know, over here, is Mr. Reaper himself. Thank you so much for being here, Reaper.
Appreciate you having me.
All right. So today's discussion is let's just rip the Band-Aid off. First and foremost, we've got the Kang event. The first Kang event came out, the Kang Hunt, and first time that I can remember that there was an event made that required the use of a character that had not actually been released other than in a purchasing method before. Now, I think there's a lot of caveats to this. It is roughly it's a 2-week event. It actually goes through the unlock event of Kang, but at the same time, doesn't necessarily feel good, and it's made a lot of people rather emotional in a number of different ways, and so I want to start off with Viscera on this one. Vis had one of the most positive people about Marvel Strike Force in our community. Really enjoys playing the game a lot, plays it on 78 different accounts. Not just an alliance leader, but runs just a giant whatever they're called, cult of alliances.
I like cult. We call it family, but you can call it cult. We don't sip the same Kool-Aid.
So, but that being said, when it comes to the game, it's been rare that I've ever heard him complain about anything. So he wrote a pretty scathing review about it, and I did forward that on to the devs, just because it's so rare for him to do it. And so I want to give him a chance to talk about those feelings live.
Yeah, well, basically before it came out, we'd seen, because of the way some content creators, they go into data mines, which are never accurate. And then they spread all of their, information. We're going to quote that information to everybody. And so people have, thoughts and feelings of what it's supposed to be when you get this event coming out. Well, a lot of us were under the impression that as long as you had Masters of Evil and you had Pimtech, because there's an ore, that you can go through these levels. And so I purchased Kang. Other people upgraded Pimtech because we were doing the Gamma 4.4 anyways. So they upgraded them to a point where they can do this level. We go in to do it, and we get one node. And then we look, and there's no Kang character shards. And we're like, well, how are we supposed to play with Kang if we don't buy? Because we have a lot of free-to-play players, and I have 5 different accounts. So I only usually buy stuff on my main, and the other stuff I try to do free-to-play as much as possible. Which on 3 of them is absolutely 100%. On one of the other ones, I every once in a while dabble. But yeah, you get into this and you can't advance, and there's no way to do anything, and it's a waste of energy. It's a waste of time. Like you can only do the node one time, even if you did pass the first node, and then you get no rewards. Those stuff that you can play is just test practice or something where it's nothing. It's just a waste of time. It was just a waste of time, a waste of money, a waste of effort, a waste of resources, and it really knocked my confidence in the game and everything really down. I was almost like, okay, I'm just gonna put all of them away and I'll just hang out on happy hour and call it good. But a topic you're talking about, maybe talk about later with the family thing. You know, my wife plays and my son plays, and it's fun to talk about those types of things as a family. Yeah. And not to mention, you know, family that we have on stream and family that we have in our Discord channel. So yeah, it's a nice conversation piece. But just just that event on that release, when we're expecting to be able to get shards, to be able to move up, like the Wakanda thing that they had where you had to unlock the team and then you got to use the team as you went forward.
Yeah.
That's how we were all thinking this was going to be, and it was nothing like that. They should have reversed the two events. The one for his release should have came out first, and then used that release to do this event that we're doing now. It was dumb, and it's a ploy for money, and it's a ploy for the people at the top who have everybody maxed out 7-7 anyways. Dorky just played against Fate's Fury. Why is Fate's Fury even in the top 100 on these events? He shouldn't count. That should be for people that don't have every character at 7-7. It's ridiculous. The only person he did not have there, I think, was Dormammu. No, he had Dormammu. It was Doom or Ultron, one of the two that you can't get. And it's like, why are those people even counted in these events? Why are these things sculpted towards them? It should be more towards the mid-game players, the milestones. I thought this month's milestones were pretty good as far as the little feeder events into it that were short and sweet and to the point, and you got to advance, and you felt like you were constantly advancing. It was good up until when they released Kang. And then it was just like, hey, this is...
And so to that point, so the feeder events that you're talking about, so like them doing a coring event when Kang has a coreable orb, super good feeling. Like that's a good event to do during this type of unlock, because a lot of the new character orbs haven't been unlockable with cores. They make them where you gotta earn through an event or whatever.
Right. And then, but to make it so he's 100 unlock, and so you're having to core, 8,000 cores to get him. If you're lucky on the drops, less. But I mean, you're talking 6. You're gonna get 6 character shards per orb, at least I would say 8 of the however many you're gonna have to get to do that. I'm not doing the math off the top of my head, but it's 100, and you're talking, so that's 16 orbs. If you're getting 6 per, and maybe you'll get a 10 or a 20 for most people. Yeah. It's just, that's so many cores for somebody that actually plays the game the way it should be, where we're doing, our campaign energy with cores, and we're doing other stuff with cores to try to advance ourselves in the game.
Yeah. Reaper, what about you? How do you feel?
I think I'm going to take a different perspective. I'm not disagreeing with anything Vis is saying. I think the perspective I would take is I look at the game, like if you look at the low-end beginner player all the way to the highest level Kraken, everything's at a scale and a level of scale. And even when we talk about, whale or Krakens, there's levels within those. And, when I look at the nodes, I look at it more like the scale is really by the node versus the completion of the entire event. And I think we're used to some of these events where you want to complete it. But the way I look at it in design, if you look at the rewards for each one of the nodes, starting in the medium difficulty and the hard, it's also scaled by node. So when you go up like mid-game all the way to the hard, there's an endpoint for every level. I think where a lot of the anger is like you can't finish it, and and like I said, I would be more mad if Kang were the rewards, actually. If you base on what you're getting for it, and if you can't get Kang unless you buy Kang, that's definitely a problem. But in this case, even in the hard rewards, you're getting like G16 Catalyst, things that you can't normally get in the middle level. And then the high one, I think I only got to the 5th node on the last one, and I was getting ISO 5, ISO 4, but a lot of mid-game players aren't even there yet. So the way I look at it, if you walk it from the top end rewards backwards, you can see that progression based on where people are in the game. So for me, it wasn't that much of a problem because I saw it that way as a scaled out reward system by node, not by campaign.
Yeah. Well, no. So I mean, so that's why this is an important conversation, because at the end of the day, everybody's got a different perspective, and everybody deserves to have that perspective, voiced. And I feel I'm sort of somewhere in between, and I'll talk about that a little bit in a minute. But Rich, what about you? How do you feel about this? Because you also do a couple different accounts, right?
No, I just have one.
Oh, I thought you were multiple accounts now.
No. I just have my main punishment. One, so I am, but I think so. With this whole event, I think I've stopped expecting to finish events, right? And I think that's something that I kind of set my expectations up in advance. Now, like when I see the milestones, it's like I look at a certain milestone, I'm like, that's the end of the event, right? Because I'm not like, and when it comes to Kang in particular, so I didn't get that initial feeling, because when Kang first came out, when I saw his kit, I noticed that the past few events, the past few release methods, whether it's U.S. Agent or Sharon Carter Light, or but like U.S. Agent, Captain Carter, all these were really, really tough unlock methods. Where if you were doing it free to play, they were just very, very not fun. Let's say. So when I saw that these average characters are having such a hard release method, they were kind of conditioning to us for that. When this Kang came out, I knew initially right off the bat Kang was going to absolutely suck to get. So for the first time since Madeline Pryor, I sucked it up and ended up buying the character. So I didn't have that initial feel of like, oh, I don't have Kang yet. But all my other characters are under 3 stars, so I could also only do the first node. So
Yeah.
But I didn't go in expecting to be able to do any of it, right? So for me, I didn't have that, oh, I'm upset about it, because I didn't set my expectations to be able to do any of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Vynora, what about you? I mean, so you got so you do a lot of event planning. That's sort of become your shtick, right? Part of your shtick of what you're putting out there when it comes to, whether it's a numbers event, stuff like this. How did you put together a plan for this, or was your thought process, y'all screwed?
So unfortunately, I've been kind of MIA for like the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
So I didn't really look at anything with Marvel Strike Force. I didn't really pay attention to anything with Marvel Strike Force. I kind of just went in, did my dailies, went out.
Yeah.
But this whole event though, because I haven't done my infographics or anything for a while too. But just
but that doesn't change. I mean, you know this game forwards and backwards. You know these styles of events.
And correct me too if I'm wrong, because like I said, I haven't really paid or been kept up to date with some of the stuff, but this event is more just, it's more just benefiting the people that spend, and it's more of a thank you to the spenders event. It's not very player friendly. Because pretty much though, it's in order to do this Kang event, you have to have Kang. So right now you only do it if you spend money. If you're going to be free to play, like me with trying to get him, it's by the time you blitz enough to get him and level him up and all that stuff, you're probably have a couple days to do the event. So you're actually going to be really hindered. So it's just more of thank you for
upgrade
spending
it before then.
game. Here's the benefits for it. Benefits for spending money on the game, to where it's just going to push you ahead, and also going to help you out with also getting Apocalypse. So yeah, I'm not real happy about it. I can kind of understand why they did it more on the business standpoint, but on the player standpoint, it's messing up a lot of free to play, or even people just spend a little bit of money and not the character offers. It's really kind of screwing you guys over, and hey, congratulations, you're going to be taking a lot longer to get Apocalypse and everything in the future. So
yeah. So as far as, I feel all of your points are super valid, and I can say, so from my perspective, so as a whale/kraken, whatever, in this game, I of course, the event started. I went through the first 6 nodes, got to node 7, and I've got everything at 6 star. I don't have everything at 7 stars, so I didn't really even blink as I was going through it. But then the more I sat there and looked at it, these type of events typically aren't at the very beginning. These events don't come out before characters are released, and so it comes across very much as this isn't for you. That's how it sounds like it's being presented to the free-to-play players. This isn't for you, sit down. You can have access to it in a couple weeks. And that's a really bad look. It doesn't make sense to put out an event like this, because the rewards, these upper tier rewards are amazing. Getting, 1 million blue 5 ISO and 1,000,000 blue 4 ISO and another 1,000,000 here, and these were high numbers back here too. Like, that stuff's great, but it's not like Apocalypse is coming tomorrow. It's not like giving this stuff right now has an immediate benefit on a grand scale that gives anybody a huge competitive advantage. So don't get me wrong, the extra ISO absolutely gives a competitive advantage, but it's not like it doesn't have that immediate impact, or at least it doesn't feel like it does to me. So, like, why even do this? Why put the community at odds with one another? Because that's essentially what this type of event does. Because this event goes through the end of the month, and when Kang's event comes out, in a few days, it goes through the end of the month. So they do go side by side. So why not reverse that? It just doesn't make sense to not give everyone access to unlocking the character before you start giving stuff out like this. Because when you're, like what I just said, like, giving this out right now doesn't give me a particularly massive advantage that I wouldn't have had otherwise. So it's like you're giving something to the whales and krakens that they don't particularly need, and makes you look bad for doing it so abrasively and upfront to everyone.
Yeah, it should have been definitely hidden. It should be one of those things that if you don't have the characters, you can't even unlock that side to be able to see. If you can't get it, period, that stupid one at the beginning shouldn't even be there. Like, I don't even understand what the purpose of that is. Like, that helps nobody. And it's like the wasp
the test
level,
drive.
like the first one. And it's like the first one of the wasp level. You get to use their wasp to go through something that gives you nothing. Like,
yeah,
that doesn't make any sense. But the Kang one is just ridiculous. It's like that test drive is horrid. And there's no reason for that. It's just, yeah. It's absurd. It's absurd, and it's just a reach for people's power cores. And I'm sure later on they're going to have something that you're going to have to release with power cores.
Yeah.
And you're going to be using them all for this instead. But the other impact that this has on those free-to-play players, and they're probably the people that are here with me, aren't even looking at this. But think of the future, and the future is those people that don't have Kang. Okay. They didn't go out and buy him. So, I mean, sure, it's going to be maybe a week and a half or whatever when we do. Yeah. But during that time, the other players are going to be able to level them up, have them in arena, which in arena he's going to stomp. And so all those power cores that you get for being 1st through 10th, those of you that are free to play that are not going for Kang, but you're in 1st through 10th in your arena shard, you won't be there. You'll probably be about 30 or so in arena. So that's taking away, 150 power cores per day that you're losing. So think of that over 10 days. That's 1,500 power cores you lost because you didn't buy something that everybody else bought that is in your arena shard with you. And then you multiply that over weeks when you're trying to catch up, and they have them leveled up, and they are there, and people are jumping each other. Now everybody's getting them. Now you're dropping further and further and further. So there's that impact as well. And that comes quick, and it's going to come fast, and you guys are going to be knocked out of your top spot, and you're going to be wondering why, and it's because you didn't spend money. And that's going to feel even worse.
Yeah, and I got to say, I don't know necessarily like what the answer, how to fix this, but
which the event's around. Should have done it the other way around.
Well, but that ship done sailed, right? I hope there's a way that they're going to loosen up the strains of this gear, because at the end of the day, the people that did buy have such a big jump on this blue 5 and blue 4 ISO ions, and I don't know if there's a way to keep just the quantum node available for a much longer period of time, but there needs to be something that has at least gives people the option to get these rewards, because it feels bad. It feels bad. So moving on to the next subject that I want to talk about, and it sort of plays into this, is the character release cadence for Marvel Strike Force. We got what is it, 245 characters? Nope, 229.
You were close.
Yeah, it feels like so much more. 1 billion characters. So we got 229 characters now, about to be 230. I believe I'm assuming that Moon Lady will be out Monday of next week. Not tomorrow, but the following. So we're about to be at 230 characters. We've got Kang in the game, but not unlockable. I mean, not Kang. Apocalypse in the game, but not unlockable. We've got more characters coming into the game because we got another patch coming up. You know, when I started playing Marvel Strike Force, when I started doing spending in Marvel Strike Force, sort of dolphin style, it seemed like there would be like a month without a character at times. Like there were huge gaps where we weren't getting characters. And then in the last year and a half in particular, every patch is multiple reworks and multiple character releases. And it's just, it feels like a lot. And because it is. And I'm curious what y'all's perspective is on that release cadence. Rich, start with you on this one.
So I have, and I talk about this quite a bit, but I don't have any problem with the release cadence, but it's because I don't care about new characters. And once again, just, not having expectations, but I'm always one patch behind. I'm always one patch behind. So what I do is I just wait and I build a full team. Like, for instance, like before Rebirth, when Rebirth came out, didn't build them. I was focusing on Underworld. And by the time it was done Underworld, I had Rebirth at all the stars I needed them to be. And now that Masters of Evils has come out, I just finished building Rebirth. So, like, I'm always one behind, and I'm doing this free to play as well, so I'm not buying any characters. But by staying behind, right off the bat, I might not... I don't feel like I'm at a competitive disadvantage, but rather than just trying to, chase the carrot, if I just stay a step behind, and I genuinely have no issues. All my teams are, I'm staying competitive. All my teams are fine. I get there when I get there. And with that, I don't have an issue with the release method because playing free to play, by the time that I have the resources and time to put into those teams, I have the stars. So that's my perspective on it. But I'm also not purchasing them.
Yeah. Yeah. Reaper, what about you?
Yeah, I think it's fast. And I think what's more important than it being fast is the fact that everything that comes out is required for something important that you need to build, or you're going to fall further behind. Kind of going back to Vis's point earlier, is if you start falling behind that trap, it's definitely going to milk the higher end spenders as a whole. But I mean, like the only gap I thought we had was when Wakanda was reworked, and people went ahead and built it during the rework. When we needed it for Scourge, that was the only break those people had to actually catch up on things. But since then, it's just every 2 weeks. This is needed for this. This is needed for this legendary. This is needed to get through the raids that everyone's frustrated with mute. And it's like, that's where I think it's even more like nothing skippable.
Yeah.
And that's where I feel like we're feeling the crunch. I to Rich's point, I don't think it'd be a problem if you had more control and flexibility with what you can and can't build, because everything is needed for something to stay in it. And as a free to play, that's even more pressure, I think, than the spender.
Yeah. Yeah. The Viscera?
Yeah.
What's it like getting new characters on 27 accounts?
It's fine. Like I said, the way that they did this last event has been good so far. I call her Titties, but Titania. I have her on 3 out of the 5 accounts so far, but not on all.
Sorry to interrupt you real quick. I joke about the number of counts that you have, but you do on your main account. On your main account, you do occasionally buy new character releases. Have you? Yeah. How many times would you say you've accidentally bought on the wrong account?
Once. Morbius. That was it. One time, it was Morbius.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, and it's because my tablet, I have all 5 one way or another on my tablet, and I just move in and out of Google to go to the next one. Well, I thought I'd loaded into mine, and I bought it, and it was on my beginner account. Oh. So I started out with Morbius, but it's all right. I can take out Heroes for Hire in that beginner, pretty easy now. but yeah. So I've got Titania on 3 out of 5. I got Abmount on every single one.
Yeah.
I got Venom on every one. All the Rebirth team I got just fine. Titania is the hardest one so far that I think I've had.
Yeah.
But yeah, the unlocks, they work if you can go through. And like I said, I have a bunch of accounts, so to be able to go through them all and get them, I mean, that's cool. Like that's what you want, is to be able to unlock. That's why it's a hero collector.
Yeah.
And so that's why this Kang one felt so bad to me, is just because, it's a hero collector, and here you put out an event where you're supposed to have him. Well, I don't have him. So
yeah,
how is that going to help me with this event? Like, I'm not going to buy him on all my accounts. Like, that's not going to work that way.
Yeah.
So they should have a way to farm him first, or this should have been a way to farm him. And I was just looking through the other games that I play and seeing how many characters. And so DC Legends is at 230 right now.
Uh-huh.
I'm looking at I was trying to count Star Wars as you were talking. That's why I was kind of lost. But there's a lot in Star Wars. There's a lot. And then in Raid Shadow Legends, there's a lot in that one too.
Yeah.
So this isn't the only one that has a ton of characters. I do like the way DC Legends releases their characters a little bit more. It's 2 per month and then 2 reworks per month. And that's it. That's all they do.
Yeah.
And it's just straight up. And they've been that way consistently from the beginning. And so what used to be, they had a lot more characters than Marvel did. Yeah. Now Marvel's caught up because we're at 229?
Yeah.
And they're at 230. So, yeah. They started off with 45 characters and then 2 per month. And that's how it's been since the beginning of the game. And it hasn't changed. So I do like that. Marvel having, like DD unlocks Doom, Ultron, so on. I mean, that changed the numbers a little bit. And then now with the APOC being with these, and then this other legendary event, like DC doesn't have that. So that's why you're getting the secondary numbers of characters. But as far as the cadence, I think we're at like what now, three a month, pretty much on average, over the last like 6 or 7 months.
Yeah, so it seems like it's 3 a month plus 2 to 3 reworks.
Yeah, so they're catching up. I mean, they're catching up in numbers because they're doing one more. Now Looney Tunes, that's one a week. That's a new character every week. So, and they have to so the way that this Kang feels is the way every release is in theirs. And that's why I stopped playing Looney Tunes, is because you had to get the character to 5 stars in order for the next week to unlock the next character that was coming out that you had to get at 5 stars to unlock the next character that was coming out that unlocked at 5 stars, and so on and so forth.
Oh my God.
So that's how theirs goes. And that's what this is. And they're both Scopely.
Yeah.
So as Tommy Jacks has always said, whatever happens in Looney Tunes will happen in Marvel. Just wait and see. So with the red stars, with the cadence, with the legendaries, with everything is falling suit. The only thing that didn't happen is like our APOC. They don't have anything like that in Looney Tunes.
Well, I mean, so fingers crossed. That's why these types of conversations are important. It doesn't have to reach everybody, but if it reaches one person and makes a difference, then maybe it'll help in some way. Never know. Vynora, what about you? How are you on these on the release cadence?
Honestly,
good for content.
It doesn't bother me much. I understand that it is frustrating with how many characters are coming out every month, especially with free to play and trying to save resources for stuff you want to work on, but then these new characters are coming out. So there's also the whole resource bottlenecks and everything. But for me, it doesn't really bother me because I've done this all the way from the beginning too, is I always look at my roster kind of like a Pokédex. And it's I will just do the minimum to at least unlock the character to get my Pokédex entry, and then I just move on. Because I'm really hyper focused on, I am working on this team specifically. So it's new characters come out. It's okay, I'm not going to have the arena meta for a while until I work on that team. You just have to accept that and move on. I'll at least unlock the characters and work on them when I get to them.
Yeah, so
I just can't keep up with everything because it's I'm hyper focused on this. So it's you have to be willing to know and accept the fact that you're going to be behind on some modes because you just can't spread your resources anywhere and everywhere every single day. So
yeah. So last question. This is going to go just to Vynora. So recently they finally announced that the final Apocalypse Unlock characters. Not recently, a few weeks ago. You know, they announced Kestrel and Deathpool. And how unhappy were you when they did not say Hydra Sniper?
Oh my gosh, I was livid. I was so mad. Like oh my gosh, I was so ready just to uninstall the game. It's like, how could you not have the best character in the game to be part of Apocalypse Unlock? I was so mad. I was ready, just like I was going to just like email like Archangel with like this whole blankety blank. How could you this and all this stuff? Like,
Do you know who I am?
It was like a personal attack on me, like directly for not having Hydra Sniper in there.
Hey, but we can use him in the minions.
Yes.
Yes, you can use him in the minions, but it was still just like seriously, like thank you for everything I've done for you guys. Like this is how you do.
Oh my god. All right, so that brings us to the end of our show. Thank you all for coming. Again, big shout out to Vynora. Also big shout out to Reaper. He found out last night. Rich found out 3 minutes ago he was doing this. Viscera and Vynora were actually planned. So thank you all for coming on. Don't forget to like and subscribe and other stuff. Now it's time for epic closing transition. Peace and love, everybody. Remember that you are pretty, you are smart, and you are special, and I love you all very much. Bye, guys. I'm the best! Nah, that's not true. Vynora's the best.
Aw.